All right. Like that. This is how you get the small businesses and entrepreneurs going. Got a jam. Ooh, yeah. There we go. Good day, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. NewB Biz Talk, hosted by one and only Najarai Brown. All right, just making sure y'all getting into it. You got to be happy to be a small business owner, entrepreneur. It's challenging during these times right now. So let's bring on today's guest. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to be talking about the topic today is, when is it time to pivot your business? And today's guest is going to tell us all about that. So let me introduce you to Roberta Lowe, right? Roberta Lowe, got it?
Yes.
The queen of pivots, Roberta.
Yes.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How are you?
We got to wake people up we got to wake people up, because sometimes
I know.
when you starting off the day, it's like, like, wake up, everyone. This is business.
That's
How you
right.
doing?
Early morning tea.
Exactly. So talk
Well,
about.
I'm excited about talking about this pivoting in your business, because it was so needed in COVID-19. So yes.
Exactly. So we're going to get right into it. Okay. So I'm going to ask the question here. What does that mean? Pivoting. What does that mean?
Well, it really just means that you have looked at your business and you've seen that one, because people think of it as negative, and it's not always negative. So one is really just seeing that you have come to the max of what you can do, or the minimum of what you can do, and now you need to come up with fresh ideas, a different strategy than what you're doing, so that you can stay in business and generating that revenue. So that's
So tell
pretty
us your
much the
story.
base.
Tell us your story on how, when was it time for you? How did you, because you have an extensive career, you're talking about over 20 years in restaurant industry
Yes.
and a host of other different things, right?
Yes.
So tell us your journey.
So I would actually say that over the years, I actually been an entrepreneur over 16 years. I really had to pivot. I think I pivoted 3 times, and that's pretty much when I started. I started off as just doing, it was just a sandwich company, right? And then I switched over. That was the max of what I could do.
Why
And
sandwiches? Why a sandwich company?
because it was something that I got it because I love sandwiches. I love sandwiches, and I found
Okay.
out
No, that's
that
important. That's
kind of
important because it's something that you
actually,
love to do, right? Because some people get into things that they don't love to do. You love sandwiches, and that's why you got into it.
yes, and also because I enjoy baking bread. Okay, so on my sandwiches, I would actually bake all the bread was baked by me. And I knew that that was some fresh bread really makes a sandwich taste its best, along with some other, layering it right, but
Oh,
still
heck
at the
yeah.
same time.
Fresh bread? Yeah, absolutely. Especially when it comes out warm.
More exactly. So it was just in terms of me actually starting that business and saying, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do, and it was easier for me to actually produce and take to my job. So when I started that, I actually started the business, and I would make the sandwiches, wrap them up, and then put them in a cooler, and I would lug a cooler to my cubicle, and I would sell out my cubicle at work. And
Oh, wow, we know about that. Purchasing your lunches at work from the coworkers. We've all been there.
right. So it was really a lot of my clients that actually are with me. They have experienced me from the beginning. So a lot of people that I still speak with, they have experienced me at that phase in life. But then I decided that it was a larger market out there. I could do more, right? So now that I had my feet wet in kind of being a business owner, because I had no experience prior to being a business owner. So now that a few years in, I decided that it's a market out here for catering. And so I pivoted my business to do full service catering. Since I was actually started to get into the event industry. And so I actually did that, and I would only cater. Well, majority of my clients were only were wedding clients, and so
Why was
I did
that?
that
Why,
with
why
many.
were they why were they wedding clients? Were these clients that you were targeting, or that they just, like what were you doing? How, because a lot of times people try to figure, how do you get this target market? So why were they wedding clients?
That's the clientele I was actually targeting,
Okay.
because it was more personal to the individual instead of just doing corporate. Now, corporate is great because they would definitely cut you a check in a heartbeat. All your ducks lined up in a row, but it wasn't like that emotional connection. So with the wedding, it's more emotional, emotions involved, and so you have to get things perfect. You have, well, close to perfect as possible for the client, right? And you have to, and they tell you their story. So all of that I enjoyed. It wasn't just providing someone with food or linens or an event planner, right? It was more so of knowing their love story, the groom's and the bride's love story, and just wishing them well wishes and things of that nature. So it was more of an emotional connection, and so that's why I geared towards weddings, and that's why I
Okay.
so help them out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, and it also was more lucrative, of course, because
Okay. Well, that's
wedding
important. You can't
in.
just be
Yep,
selling something and you're not making anything, right? So, lucrative is a key
absolutely.
word.
Yes. Absolutely. So it really helped, and you didn't have to do that many of those, to get a good return on what you're providing. So you didn't have to do that many to provide income for yourself. Now, I would say that over the years, my last pivot, or second to last, is when I transitioned over and opened up I went 100% vegan, and
Why? Why did you do that?
because it was time for me to do it. I always wanted to be vegan, okay, ever since I've been in business. But I was listening to, since I knew nothing about business, I was listening to professors and things of that nature when I went to college about how, it's not on the market, nobody's going to want to, what's going to set that apart, and, all of that, all of those
Oh
ideas,
yeah, I
ideas
know.
in your head, right? And being inexperienced, you're going to go based upon, you're in college paying for these professors to tell you about entrepreneurship and things of that nature. So you are seeking advice from them. The advice from them is actually really transitioning your thoughts in your head and really helping you to form what you're going to actually do, right? Where you're going
Right,
to lead to, where your path is going, right? They're
right.
forming your path for you, despite what you're having in your head and thinking. But being that young, being that naive, I was just going based upon what they were actually telling me. So fast forward years later, I was like, I'm gonna actually do what I set out to do previously, and that was to open up a vegan restaurant. And so that's what I did about a year and a half. And once again, it was in the restaurant industry or in the catering industry. Of course, large events were not being accepted. Event halls were being shut down, so I couldn't necessarily get any catering clients, or people were postponing their weddings and things of that nature,
This was during
for
COVID. We were talking
COVID.
about,
Yeah,
okay, during the
because
COVID. Okay.
yeah. So I realized that something needed to be done. If this is my business, how is the business going to survive? And so therefore, I just made, like tons of other people, we just made a choice to pivot our business during COVID. So I did the restaurant, and I was on all the platforms. So that also helped out. So just knowing when
And when you
to
were saying all the platforms, what platforms are you speaking
the delivery
about?
platform. So that would
Okay.
be the Uber Eats, Grubhub, DoorDash, Postmates, all the local ones that's in Maryland.
Right,
So,
and they
yeah.
charge a percentage. Let's talk about that. So
Oh,
a lot of people had to, because we had to do it at Atlanta Kush, and we were already on platforms, starting with locally based
mm-hmm.
Order Up, which we loved Order Up because it was local to Baltimore, based in Baltimore, and then they got bought out by Grubhub, and that's how we got
Yep.
on the Grubhub platform, and then we just
Mm-hmm.
started adding all of them. But they
Mm-hmm.
charge so much in commission, so it really
They
takes
do.
out. But the way people were operating, because people weren't coming out, they were
Yes.
wasn't comfortable going into the stores. You had to have these platforms. So we kind of had already, the pivot was really just, okay, how do we cut costs now? Because now everyone's ordering this way. So talk
Yes.
about that.
As you know, that was oh, I always try to I tell other business owners that I coach, usually I tell them, I say it's great to get on the platforms to get out in front of the people, but you really want to do something that actually brings them into your store where you have to transition that customer over, because those high percentage fees are taking out your bottom line, and you don't want to, at some point, something have to give, which is going to ultimately impact your quality of product,
Right.
right? And so I tried to, what my strategy was, just really putting flyers and everything into the bags and have people transition over to coming into the restaurant, or coming for curbside, or things of that nature. It really helped with bottom line when people actually started coming in. So restaurants that can actually get your percentage down on the delivery platforms, whereas though you spike up your walk-in customers, your curbside customers, or even customers that order directly on your website, right? Through your particular platform. I think that is definitely a way to get in. But I know that it was hard to actually pay individuals to work as well as pay the platform, because they take theirs out, it's like tax. They take theirs out immediately. It ain't
Right.
like they give it to you and then you give it back to them. No. They
Right.
take their percentage out as soon as that transaction is done, as soon as the delivery is done. And so, when you actually see that big chunk just coming out, is very heartening. So I did cut down a lot on staff, which was very sad to me, because I'm in business to employ people. I
Right.
really, it was one of my main focus to really employ people, but I couldn't. I felt like I was doing them a disservice cutting down the hours, and then the hours would fluctuate and things like of that nature. It wasn't something that would be consistent. And so, I know it's bills. I have bills every month. So I know they have bills. And so, that was something that was really hard. So I just decided to lay some people off, and so they can find other opportunities to really help with their bills.
And you mentioned a couple of things. You mentioned, making ordering accessible through your website, which is something that we did at Atlanta Kush during the pandemic, because we were trying to cut down costs from the delivery service, which proved to be
Mhm.
successful because it did. And now that platform is the top platform that people order from, as well as being able to get your gift certificates, which we had never had before COVID, and we got a lot of support through that way. So
Mm-hmm.
You always have to be thinking, okay, you have to, stay ready so you don't have to get ready,
Yes,
because this whole pandemic showed businesses that you are not the one in control. So
that
you
is
have to
true.
always be ready for that next step, because you never know. And that's how you survive, or at least keep your head above a little bit of that water, because we're all still out here struggling each day
Yes,
to, whether it's stay open, get open, or just not be kicked out on the street, because a lot of people are
yes.
going through a lot of things. So that was the last pivot, when you went from the sandwich to the catering and then a restaurateur. How is it going now?
How it's going now is actually going pretty well. We're currently closed to the public because we are now raising money for investors, to really get a suitable location, a brick and mortar location, and hire staff. Because one thing that it has taught me, we in this past year and a half that we have been open, it actually taught me that like I said, I'm in a business of really trying to provide jobs for individuals. And so I had to realize that for me to do what on the level that I'm looking to actually scale on, then I need to make sure I bring in the resources and have the capital to actually take the business to that level, right? To be able to employ those employees and make sure that they actually are able to provide for their home. So now that we are, I shut down the restaurant for a while, especially since I had to let a large amount of uh, my employees go. So I shut down the restaurant, and now we're just doing like investor tastings and things of that nature to raise the capital to really be able to bring those employees back, to actually make a footprint in the neighborhoods and community that we're actually in, and just move forward. So we're doing that through our crowdfunding campaign, and it's an equity crowdfunding.
And what so this is real new to me, that process, investor tasting and the crowdfunding campaign. When did you really need to decide, like, this is what we have to do? You have to get a brick and mortar. Where were you operating before? So you didn't
Yep.
have a where were you operating
No.
before?
No, so I know many people are like, "Oh my God!" So individuals didn't know, especially people that ordered on a platform. They didn't know that I literally transformed my whole home into a restaurant. Like, we were just, I had coolers in here. I mean, I had fryers. It was, working stations. It was it was an experience. I had the entry, and only people knew that it was just a few of us really, that was here. At a max, it would be about 3 people working at the restaurant, right? So we're pushing out all of these orders on DoorDash and things of that nature, but no, unless my clients came in. Like, I had one client come in on the last day that we were shutting down to the public, and he was like, I couldn't believe that you were in here, like, doing things like this. I was like, yeah, I mean, what did you think? He was like, every time I came in, I would leave out and say, nah, that's not possible. That's not what she's doing. She's not, a regular client, he was like, nah, she's not in there by herself. She's not doing things that they, limited on staff. And I was like, and I told him, I was like, yes.
You have to do what you have to do
You
as a
have to do what you have
business
to
owner.
do.
Yeah, a lot of people
Absolutely.
think that this is free time being an entrepreneur. There's
No.
no free time. There's no
No.
9 to 5. Like, we're open all the time, whether it's through email, whatever. So you got to do what you got to do.
You totally have to do what you have to do. And I knew it was because people would come in and say, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe you do this." Because it literally, when you walk in, it does not look like a home at all, and it was a whole separate entrance other than from the living areas, right?
Mhm.
So it was just a different entrance and a different setup. You would not have known that it was actually a home other than you looking at it outside, right? But yeah, I had to do what I had to do, had to employ who I had to employ to get the job done to stay in business for this long. And definitely it was more like testing the waters to see if the product and the menu was actually something that was really needed in the market space, because even though it's vegan, it's a different kind of vegan menu. And so some people, you have to, like with any entrepreneur, you have to test the waters to make sure that the public want it. Because if you don't get the sales in, then you're not really in business, right?
Right.
If you don't get the revenue in. So that was something that we actually, that's something I actually did. And I'm glad that I actually really was able to take that, just a thought or a concept in my head, and really transform it into what it actually was. And I'm looking forward to really transforming it even larger so that more people can definitely experience it. But you have, as an entrepreneur, you have to be able to really see that vision more so than and then execute on the vision, and learn when it's time for you move on. Like, this pivot is for me to grow. This pivot isn't for me to move into a direction where as though I'm changing the concept, right? This particular pivot is for me to grow. So that's one thing. That's what I was mentioning. When you making a pivot, you have to realize what it is that the goal that you're looking for. And I knew no matter how much marketing I would do, because sometimes I would have to turn away clients because it was so much going on and limited, very limited here, right? And so therefore, I know clients would be upset about that, but I realized that this was what I need to focus on so that I can move in a position where, so I don't have to turn down clients. That same quality from customer one is the same quality that customer 500 or 1,000 will actually get. That same service and things of that nature. So this is what this pivot is focused on, to really, really move forward. And a lot of our customers are upset. Sorry, guys, but it's for the better. We, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, we have to make sure.
Accept. Yeah, it's easy to upset. It's easy for customers to get upset, but they have to understand that businesses have to understand what the capacity is and what resources they're dealing with. And a lot of times, unless people see the back operations, they don't understand, and they can think you can do everything. They want everything on the menu. They want you open all hours of the night, not understanding that it just can't work like that. And we can't yes to everything. There's going to be some no's. We have a question here. Let's show this. Kirsten Allen, thank you for tuning in. Another powerful sister doing things in the community. We're going to have her on soon too. She's asking, based on your research, what platforms did you decide to utilize to raise funds? What was your deciding factor? And that's a good question. What platforms you're going with to raise funds, and what was the deciding factor on using those platforms? Because again, I have no knowledge in that. We've never did that in our business, but it's something that we may need to learn so we can stay ready if we have to, you do that.
Well, I would actually say I had no experience with crowdfunding. How I came about crowdfunding about a year ago was, I had no experience with equity crowdfunding. We all have experience with crowdfunding. And that's actually when crowdfunding is really when just several individuals get together and they're making individual donations or individual investments into one to help out into a large pot, right? And we see that often when we give an offering at church, or tithes and offering at church. We see that through GoFundMe. That's the main platform that we utilize. Now, both of those are donation platforms. And so when I actually developed a course for small businesses to actually get funding, and one of the main courses was to alternative funding, right? Non-traditional funding. And so I stumbled across crowdfunding. And so we actually learned about what crowdfunding was and how we go about it. So how I actually picked the platform, first you have to learn what you're actually looking for. It's different types of crowdfunding. Like I said, it's charity crowdfunding. You got rewards crowdfunding, whereas though you don't actually, the company will go on the website and they'll actually give you like a t-shirt or whatever their product is, or maybe a gift card. That's what rewards crowdfunding is. You get no equity, but it's not a donation, right? So so you have that. Then you have like a debt crowdfunding. Debt crowdfunding is where you actually go on and you actually it's kind of like a loan, right? So all the individuals that have put into your crowdfunding campaign, you set the terms or whatever amount that they're going to get from that term in terms of the loan. So it's thought after as a loan. That's how you can think about it, as a loan. So you set all the terms, you let each investor know. They'll go to your platform or your site and see what those terms are, and they'll agree to the terms, and they'll actually invest in your company. And whatever that maturity date is, that's when they'll get back their return. Okay, so that's a return crowdfunding. And then it's equity crowdfunding, which I decided to do. And that is when you actually go, you actually have stake in the company when you invest in the company. So that's pretty much where that actually comes out at. And being a new company is not necessarily, you don't quite know like the sheer amount and things of that nature, but you can think about how the recent one or the big one that we have heard of is, Snoop and Robin Hood, Nas and Robin Hood. So just think about those in terms of equity crowdfunding, how they invested in a company before they, went public or before they sold, and, they actually got that return, that percentage or whatever dollar amount that they put in. So when you're actually looking to do equity crowdfunding, debt crowdfunding, I'm not really sure about rewards crowdfunding. You have to actually go through the government, the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission, and you have to file paperwork on your company and all types of financials and things of that nature to even have a crowdfunding site. It's illegal to raise money out for equity without going through them. And that's what I
Oh
was saying.
yeah. Oh yeah, for
It's
sure.
illegal. It's definitely illegal. But on the charity sites, you can raise as much money as you want, because it's just people giving money, right?
Right.
But that's where I decided to use the particular platform that I'm on, because I also had, I knew the owner, and you need a lawyer when you actually do all these things. Okay, so you raising
Hello.
money, you raising money to get capital. Really, you have to put up some money to actually just start raising money. Okay,
Well,
so
it's like a business. A
that's
lot of people think they're going to go in the bank and just get a loan from a bank, and the bank is like, "Well, you got to have something in the game
so
too.
true.
We're not giving you everything." If people don't really realize coming into this, like you have
Yeah,
to, they want to know you invested in yourself.
yes, yes. And so you have to, from the paperwork, from the marketing, from you filing, from you actually being on a platform, all of it's tons of fees that's involved to actually even start raising capital. So that's how I actually picked my platform. But it's like 67 plus equity, 67 or plus crowdfunding campaigns or platforms that's out here, and you can go based upon whichever one would help you the most. Because some of the large ones like WeFunder, they have investors already that would come through and look at different campaigns that's on there. So you'll probably get some traffic from there. The
Mhm.
platform I'm on, they're not as established. They're a newer platform. So I don't have the benefit of that traffic like WeFunder or even GoFundMe, or not GoFundMe, excuse me, Fund Black Businesses and things of that nature. But it's different platforms that's on there. And it's a few Black platforms that's starting to come available too. So
That's good to know.
it's always good.
Very important to know. Awesome. Well, we're running out of time, but I wanted to ask you, how long is the crowdfunding going to take? Because I know some funding can, take months. How long? What's the duration of yours?
So the duration of mine is, because of the SEC. SEC has a lot of rules, so I can't necessarily say what the end date is, but I can
Understood.
say you can definitely go to the campaign page and
Where is that? We can
figure
go
that
to the
out.
campaign page. Where is
Yes,
that?
if you go to my website, it's actually robertalowe.com, and you hit on invest now, you'll be able to go to the campaign page.
Oh, okay.
And you'll see all the details there. And it's always updated, so we'll be having some updates later, but
You said
definitely
investing? RobertaALowe.com. Investing? Invest campaign or investing?
investing.
Okay.
It should say invest now.
Oh, invest now. Investing. I just want to make sure / investing, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we got that in there in the chat. Awesome. So everyone can check that out. Let me just bring it up, make sure we have it correct so they can go to, and don't worry, I'll correct it. RobertaALowe.com investing. I got to take a little thing out. But while you're answering the next question, I will do that. What's the one most important tip that you would like to share with aspiring or existing small business owners? Like the one most important thing that tip that everyone really needs to know.
I would definitely say that you would. It's important to really, we talk about marketing, but when you are in a position that you actually need to pivot your business marketing, you have to hold back off on marketing somewhat. So I would say that in the midst of you actually starting your business, you actually realizing how to what is actually needed. Okay, so the number one tip I would actually say, always keep your ear to the ground and see what the customers need and see what your business actually needs. That would be the best tip that I can actually give. And based upon those, that's when you have to decide, is it time for me to pivot in a different direction to either take on what the feedback is and what my business can do, or is it a time for me to pivot into a whole nother direction? Not taking long to realize what you need to do to make the moves that you have to make when you need to make them.
So no analysis paralysis, right?
Right.
Thank you too, Kirsten. Thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate the question.
Yes, thank
Awesome.
you.
All
And
the
I put
time.
the link in, I think it's a private chat here.
Oh, okay. You put it in? Okay. Yes. I'm going to share that now. Okay. I saw that come up. Okay. I'm sharing
Yeah.
it. I'm sharing it. Give me 1 second because we want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to see that. And so this is the link right here, everyone. RobertaALowe.com. Oh, okay. Well, I had it all wrong. Invest dash now. So you want to
Invest
go
now.
to
Mm-hmm.
that site. That's the site to go to look at the crowd funding campaign that Roberta has chosen. Please share your businesses again and where we can find you. Right now, I have your IG tag. You got
Mm-hmm.
that here, right? Is there
Yes.
any other businesses you want to share that people should be following, or because you're on hold right now, you just want them to follow
Oh
you?
no, we're still. I mean, we're
Okay.
still actually. We're still a business. We don't. We're just not open to the public right now, but we're still, making business moves. We are definitely. If Roberta A. Lowe is our Instagram, our the restaurant Veg Box is
Yes,
Instagram is Veg Box MD. And that's on all social media handles, as well as the website. It's vegboxmd.com. So that's VEGBOX MD.com.
Okay. vegboxmd.com.
Yeah, so definitely follow us. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on what's that other one? Facebook. So we're on Google as well. And Google is definitely a great platform for us, for any businesses that actually is in business. I got Google actually has brought me so many business customers from just them searching, something near them, vegan near them.
Can we talk about that? Because we had a very engaging conversation around the importance of businesses using Google as a marketing tool. And we have someone here saying, thank you for sharing this. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Helen. Thank you for tuning in. This is what we want, because we're here to help new businesses, small businesses, businesses that just need some questions answered. So, we're all in this together. But talk about the Google platform, because I preach about the use of Google all the time as being the number one search engine. Right now, I'm hearing Amazon is, because people are on Amazon searching things. But, Google, when you're searching for things in general, you're going to Google for search, and then YouTube is the second one. So talk about your experiences with Google and what you see with some businesses that are not using Google the right way.
If you are not using Google, you are really doing your business a disservice, because Google is the number one search engine, especially for businesses. Let me tell you why. If Google, first of all, makes your own, makes a whole page for you to utilize. They also give you credit so you can market your business. Now, granted, if you don't quite know how to use those Google ads, then just wait to hire someone or to get someone, because it will start adding up. But Google is the number one, and you definitely, if you're not on any other listings or searches, you want to be on Google, because what Google does is everybody goes to Google to search. So now Google is the feeder into your Yelp page. Google is the feeder into the maps. Google is the feeder into tons of other little platforms that you probably wouldn't even think that you're on. For restaurants, if you might not actually have opened up an account on those delivery platforms, but guess what? They have your information. Everybody is pulling business information from Google. Google is the number one search. If you're searching for a doctor, if you're searching for things of that nature, then businesses definitely need to be on Google, and it's at no cost to you at all. You do not pay for any of this. You just go to your, you just claim your actual
free 99. I can't, like, the number of times people are like, well, what are you doing? But free 99. Get your Google business profile in order. You can post on it. People can order online. You can put COVID updates. You can put events on there. Free 99. Utilize it. It's the best thing you can ever do for your business. And make sure it's updated with current information. If you're closed, put that you're closed. If you're open, put the hours that you're open, because I have to call every business now before just going there when I find them on Google, because I go there and they're closed. It says they're open, but they're closed. Use your Google profile to the fullest, and then get the ads, because the ads are just going to add on and amplify you more. I can tell you. Atlantic Kush is using Google. We've been using Google for years, and now we're on the ads, and we're just going to continue using that platform. And then you have all your other social media platforms that you incorporate into that. Roberta, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Again, tell everyone where they can find you.
Yep, you can connect with me on all social media platforms. Go to my website, purchase a book, and everything of that nature. If you go to robertalowe.com, it will connect you with even a crowdfunding campaign as well.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in to NewB Business Talk. Everyone, please follow us. Let me share that. You want to follow us on Facebook at NewB Biz Talk and NewB_Biz Talk on Instagram. We're going to be bringing a lot of featured guests talking about all type of business, the business of acting, the business of starting your own security company, the business of real estate. So we're going to bring it all to you. So make sure you're following this platform, NewB Business Talk on Facebook and NewB__ Biz Talk on IG. And whatever you do, whether you're working a steady job, whether you want to be a new business owner, entrepreneur, whatever it is, be well and please be safe. Happy holidays. Happy New Year's. Wishing you all the best. Love you. Have a